Good evening. How is everybody doing? Welcome to a special edition of Friday Night with Pineapple. I just decided, we got to do a double header this week. You know what I'm saying? We talking about personal finance and accounting. Just had my big sis on last night with ASAP Accounting and Bookkeeping. Miss Malika Morton, she doing some amazing things out there in Orlando, Florida. Listen, I don't know, man. We about to talk about some finances this week, but I had to have some music on. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. Put some little Michael Jackson on because we about to be starting some problems. We want to start your change and how you budget your money. This is what we're gonna be doing tonight. But we got a special guest on here. It's a little bit of a last minute thing. I wanted to bring this gentleman on, man. He's been doing some great things in the community. He helping people manage their money, budget their money. We call him Budget Man. We just gave him his name a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, so let me tell you a little bit of backstory about our relationship. So I met LaVar, say about 6 years ago. We go to the same church. We fellowship together. It's like a big brother to me. He done taught me some things about finance. I went to school with a business degree, marketing degree, but he's on another level of specializing in budgeting and finance. I knew how to do it, but he know how to do it on another level. This is what he specialized in doing. Let me bring him on, Mr. LaVar Henry. We're going to turn the music up a little bit. Let us party up a little bit because it's Friday night. It's Friday night out here with Pineapple with Maxwell in the back. You know what I'm saying? How you doing tonight, big bro?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on. We're going to have to talk about that Budget Man, though. But, got me out here, got me as Budget Man,
Budget Man,
anyway, it's
cool. Nothing wrong with it. We sound like Mega Man characters.
Exactly. It sounds like a Mega Man character.
Mega Man, we got Zero Man, Blast Man, Bomb Man. Look, I'm Pineapple Man, he Budget Man. We got everybody got names. We a Mega Man game up in here. We don't care.
I know.
This is what we're gonna do.
Absolutely. But I appreciate you having me on, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Auntie said turn up then. Like, yeah, we're gonna turn up on this Friday night. This is what we're gonna do. So give us some backstory of yourself. Tell everybody who you are, your history in finance and what you do for a living today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a finance degree. I went to school for finance. I kind of went into insurance, but right now I'm actually a real estate agent, and I'm also I do cryptocurrencies. So I kind of help. Sometimes people ask me a lot of questions when it comes to crypto and Bitcoin and things of that nature. So I actually run a YouTube channel called Polka Dot Specialist, where I just talk about some different things in crypto that I personally like. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about my background overall. And I just constantly try to learn, never arrive, and just always looking at different ways to improve myself. So,
okay. What's your why in personal finance? What makes you want to tell the community and help people budget their money as well as you manage your money so well? So what makes you want to be passionate about that?
Yeah, well, what the Bible say, my people perish for the lack of knowledge, right? So I just have a heart to kind of help people. I think it's very important. Financial literacy is very important, especially with the economy the way it is. It was like $15 to go get a burger at Burger King these days, what I'm saying? So goods and services going up because of inflation and all this other stuff. So, if you don't have, a way of understanding how money works and how to make your money work for yourself, then you're in a kind of bad position. So, because I'm always trying to help other people, when people have questions, I'm more than happy to try to help out as much as I can.
Okay, that sounds good, man. Listen, we need money. Money is also talked about in the Bible so many different times, but people think it's the root of all evil, but it's not. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil that most people don't understand, especially in the church. They think because a person has a lot of money that means they necessarily did something wrong to get it. They ain't do it with integrity, and they just stepping on people's toes. There's actually a lot of wealthy, successful people that believe in God, that do a lot of philanthropy in the community, do a lot of charitable services, build different nonprofit organizations and for-profit organizations that take care of people, because people really don't understand that money is just a tool. Okay, it's just a tool. It's about the wielder of that tool. It can be wielded for good, or it can be wielded for evil. It all depends on the mindset of that individual. So yeah, that's good stuff. So
Absolutely.
what would you say the purpose of a budget is? Like, what would be an effective budget making plan? So what would give a purpose of, like, the average person? Why would you say that's a effective way of just managing your money?
Well, a budget for me is a way that you can actually see where your money is coming from and where it's going. So you might make X amount, but at the end of the day, if you like always seeming like you losing money, or you always seeming like you don't have enough money, you kind of need to be able to see where your spending is. Maybe you're spending too much on this or spending too much on that. So it's a way of visualizing your money. And also it's a way of making plans. So if you have a goal, you want to buy a house, you want to put money aside for retirement, you want to invest, you want to put your kids through school, you want to put yourself through school. You have certain goals. A budget allows you to see your money and then properly prioritize things so that you can actually achieve objectives.
Okay, okay. What objectives would you say the average person should be? What you think they should go after as an average?
Well, it's going to be a personal decision, because I follow a Warren Buffett philosophy, where you live under your means and you invest the difference. So you should always, at the very least, try to live. So if you make $1,000 a month, your bill shouldn't be $1,000 a month. They should be like $500 a month or less, if possible. So you want to make sure that you're not spending above what you're making, and try to have money that you're being able to save or invest in the future. So the biggest thing is just to not overspend in areas that you can avoid.
Okay, so I will say to the audience, he's completely 100% correct. I will add to that point where when you do live above your means, but most millionaires, they live off of 30% of their income. Okay, probably billionaires probably less than that. Um, Understanding that money, like Auntie said, money is a tool to use to answer all problems. You want to make sure too, when you say you live below your means, you do that for a season, and you start asking yourself, how do I afford the things that I truly desire? Start figuring out, how do I afford it? What can I do to increase my means? What can I do to increase my revenue, increase my money, while keeping the same lifestyle? See, a lot of people in America specifically, when they money do increase, they increase their expenses, and that's the misconception. Let's say if me and you make $30,000 a month, and we spend $27,000 a month, it's no good, because we spending almost all of our income on just daily expenses, luxury lifestyles, and stuff that don't make us no money. So for this example, another thing is, if let's say if a person makes $30,000 and it previously was making 5,000, and then they made another 50,000 a month, and they stayed at the 5,000, they're actually at a surplus, because they did not buy things they didn't need. They didn't increase their expenses because they had it. They didn't buy new cars, new houses. They didn't buy a whole bunch of liabilities. They took their money and invested it and then saved it. So what you want to do also is understand, when you get more money, understanding that you might see more things that you may desire, but you don't necessarily have to buy those things. It's just about being disciplined. Okay, so we was just talking about that on our Bible study a couple of days ago, about being disciplined and being accountable and holding yourself accountable and resisting those urges and temptations, because that's the fastest way to go broke, is partying and splurgely spending money. So yeah, that's good stuff.
If I can add something to that real quick,
Yes,
and
sir.
I do think sometimes people have, you know, like if you really follow like what wealthy people do and different things along those lines, they don't prioritize things that depreciate. It's like a car and things like that. At early ages, or early stages of where they're at. So like in their very beginning, they probably weren't going to try to get a Porsche before they had like their investment properties. A lot of times they'll start buying those luxury items with some of their extra money coming in. But
Yep.
they've already established these different income streams. So I think people kind of want to hang with the Joneses, or, keep up with the Joneses, and they really are living above their means. With the cars, rims. I remember one of my worst decisions when I was a young kid. I bought some rims, man. I look back, I was like, man, that was a poor decision.
Oh,
it was poor, but that's what I'm saying, because people don't have the knowledge of what's most important, and that's prioritizing like your future and prioritizing smart spending.
yeah, smart spending. One of my teachers, he said, saying, Dr. Caslin, he was a white guy professor. He always say in his what was it? I think it was an accounting class, if I'm not mistaken. It was from 6 to 9, and he said always you want to work, save, and invest. You want to save your money for like a rainy day. You want to have 6 to 12 months of savings. You want to work on yourself and also work at a job that's in high demand and invest into things that are going to appreciate with value over time, such as Bitcoin, what you do. You got cryptocurrency. You got real estate, especially. Uh, Things you want to invest in: gold, silver, platinum, diamonds, things that appreciate, things like that's going to be an asset over there over time, that's going to make you money, to where a lot of people, they just buy a house and then buy a car, a bunch of liabilities. But you got to understand, when you do buy a house, it is an asset, but it's also a liability to you too at that time that you buy it, because it's taking money out from you instead of it making money for you. Let's say if you have 3 properties, you live in one, you pay mortgage, okay, that's a liability, but you got the other two that's bringing you money, so it's an asset. So okay, so a lot of people don't understand the difference between the asset and the liability. So once people really truly understand that, and understand expense too, they all different categories. Understanding knowing how to differentiate the three, and it'll put you in a better position, because most people, they think they getting ahead, but they're not, because they're operating in a liability category. If that makes sense, audience. So yeah, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's really just about cash flow. At the end of the day, is it bringing you in more money than than you're spending on it? So if it's pretty much causing a cash flow where you actually are able to have some profits, then it's more of an asset. It's a liability if you're actually paying a bill each month on it, and it's just money going out. So absolutely, though, good
Oh,
points.
okay, so what? Let me ask you this: how would you instruct people on how to budget their finances specifically?
Well, budgeting in itself, the unique thing about budgeting is sometimes people, it gets like a bad stigma, where people might not want to do it. But truthfully, the best budget is the budget that's customized for yourself. So if there's stuff that you like, budget for it. Make a budget for it. So you really want to customize it to what your goals, your vision is. And go from there. But the best budget is one that's customized to the things that you like. And then you just prioritize the things that you most like. If you got a thing for games, or you have a thing for cars or something like that, then if you get this, you might not be able to get this other thing, and you got to prioritize the things that you most desire overall when it comes to effective budget.
Yeah. So when you definitely, like, I'm gonna elaborate a little bit more on that. So when you budgeting, you want to sit down and write down each expense, each asset, each liability. You take note of everything that you're doing on a daily basis. You'll get to see where um, your all your money is going, how you're allocating that, your net income, depending on how whatever your income comes from. So you'll
Right,
be able to do that. So this is what me and Malika was talking about last night,
right,
about her bookkeeping services and stuff. She has bookkeeping not only for businesses but also on a personal level. So it actually itemizes every expense and every bill that you got going on, and it calculates it, the difference with your assets and your liability column, because a lot of people can't identify it in your
right.
column. So when you sit down and take the time to write down what's going on in your account, checking your bank accounts every day, looking at your subscriptions and seeing which ones are useful, which one is not, cutting the ones that are not useful to you, getting rid of them, figuring out which is serving you, which is not serving you, especially writing down a goal. You actually want to write down a goal for like a year out, 2 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out, 20 years out, for the next 2 generations out. So you want to plan not for Saturday night, you want to plan for the next 2 to 3 generations ahead. Most
Right.
people in our community don't do that. They worrying about sports, entertainment. They worry about the NFL. They worry about Major League Baseball. They worry about the club, the
Mhm.
summer league. They worry about stuff that don't make no money. And these
Yeah.
are the same
That
people,
financial literacy. Yeah.
their financial literacy is low,
Yeah.
especially with athletes. Okay, so in our community, we like to put athletes on a pedestal. There's nothing wrong with being an athlete, entertainer, or a musician. Okay, it's about having that and also having something in the background to where something don't work out with that, because it's less than 1% of people that make it to the pros. It's that's just the percentages. That's just what it is because it's so competitive. So you want to talk about getting yourself in the business class of things to where you'll be able to really invoke change. Like people, we need more people that's in personal finances. We need more people that's doing insurance policies. We need more clothing designers like myself. We need more real estate agents. We need more doctors. We need more lawyers, more fine artists, more therapists. We need more stuff. God-given purpose and talents. It ain't just sports. It's just the business class and having financial literacy. There's a couple of people we used to watch a lot of the NBA. So Derek Coleman was one of them. He was on the New Jersey Nets, one of my favorite sports teams of all time because I'm from Jersey. He had multi-million-dollar contracts, bankrupt because of the lack of financial literacy that he has. Here's another one, Antoine Walker, made over $108 million in his career. I just seen it today. He was buying his family stuff, buying them cars, buying them houses, lack of financial literacy, he broke. It's the same thing with our favorite point guard from back in the early 2000s, Allen Iverson. Same thing with him. Okay, so when he was first in the league, let me tell you this, let me tell you how crazy this story is crazy. You might not believe, but you go on the House of Hoops, you'll see it. So dude went to the mall. He went to a mall in Philly, right? And he bought a Lamborghini. He forgot where he parked. Cause you know how sometimes you got the key fob, you forget where you park, right? Look,
Right.
you forget where you park, you just like, man, I'm parked. I'm upstairs. Okay, so what he did, the lack of financial literacy, so he went to the Lamborghini and bought a new one,
A whole nother one.
a whole new one.
Hey, you mean
I
tell you
bought a
something?
new one. I'm buying another one. I don't know. They had that one. I'm buying another one.
Hey, let me tell you something about that story though, real quick. So Alan, I heard also what he did is he got crazy good advice early. So they told him he was going to lose his mind. So what they did was they made him put his money in an account that he wouldn't have access to until later in life. So I think like recently he just got access to a whole bunch of money, but he was broke because he couldn't even get to that. But now he has like a whole bunch of money that was put up from his early days that he could not access
From
until
Reebok. Yep. He had
yeah.
like a $55 million contract with them. He couldn't access it until like around this time. It was like 20 years ago.
Right,
And he was just spending money and he got robbed too. He also
right,
got robbed at gunpoint too because he was just so flashy. And a lot of these NFL, it was more so NFL players go broke faster because their contract's not that big, but the NBA players, they got a little bit more cushion because the contracts are bigger nowadays, but
ain't
they go
guaranteed.
broke. They go broke too. It's crazy because you imagine you getting an $800,000 check every week. You lose your mind if you don't know how to discipline yourself. You just, man, I got
Yeah.
800,000. Man, I don't know. I'm depressed. I don't know
Mhm.
what to do, bro. Take that money, slow down. Take that money, put it in an account, manage your money, get some financial literacy, do what you need to do. Don't go out here spending money because you from the hood. Look, don't spend that money. Do not
Right.
spend that money because you got to think about not just you, You got to think about when you stop playing basketball and what you gonna do after retirement. That's where they start losing their minds after retirement because they
The
just
check
don't.
stop coming.
They
Yeah, the
just
check
checks
stop.
start coming, and this is where understanding financial literacy and understanding marrying the right person too. Because a
Right.
lot of times when those guys get married, they get married when they got all that money and all that success, and when the checks start coming, or he mismanaged, or she take him, convince him to spend all his money, she'll leave him, take all his assets and all that stuff. So it's about just having a lot of self awareness
Right.
and discipline and having people that'll hold you accountable. That's
Mhm.
gonna tell you about yourself. They gonna hurt your feelings. You gonna get angry at them. You won't want to fight them, but you need those people
He
in
said,
your
"Oh,
life. You need those people. Let me tell you something. You need those people because if you don't have those type of people in your life that'll help you control your spending habit, you're gonna go broke. You're gonna be homeless. You be like, how? How did this
mhm.
happen? This happened to Delonte West that used to play with LeBron James. Like he
Yeah,
had all that money, all-star point guard. He outside homeless with a sign.
yeah.
He was
I
on
think I think his also might have been a drug situation, if
the
I'm not.
drug situation.
Yeah, yeah. But what I did want to outline something. So you kind of hit early. You broke down like
Mm.
some key characteristics of a budget. We got the two different columns, one for your expenses and one for your income. And I did want to point out some great things. So you mentioned that, but you do want to. There's two different types of expenses. You have
Mm-hmm.
your fixed expenses and your variable
Very
expenses.
best. Yep.
Exactly. So your fixed expenses are the ones that the amount is going to be every time. If you rent a certain amount, if it's $2,000, then every time it's not changing. It's not going to go up and down. So you're going to have your fixed expenses, but then you'll have some that are based on consumption, such as your electric bill, and things of that nature, where it's based on your consumption, so you can actually maybe tone down on it. So you want to first list your fixed expenses because those are pretty much going to be locked in. But the variable expenses, a lot of times, such as your food, your entertainment, and those are the areas that you might be able to cut back down to be able to make some room for investments or put money in savings or to pay down debt. So I did want to point that out overall. But yeah.
That's a good one. Say, speaking of paying down debt, leads me to the red. Look,
Right.
we be flowing around here. Leads me to the next question.
I give you that
Look,
layup,
look,
give you that sis. Hey, don't
look,
say I never do nothing for you now.
look. You
Don't
do
say I
everything.
ain't never do nothing for you. I gave you
Look,
that layup. It
look.
was
I'm giving you
smooth.
full credit. I'm giving you full credit right now. Look, what
Yeah.
is the fastest way to help people get out of debt? Talk to
Yeah.
them.
Well, the fastest way to try to get out of debt is exactly what we're talking about. It's actually discipline. The first step is the budget. You got to figure out, when you go to a doctor, they're going to examine you. They're going to figure out what the root cause of the issue is. Got that nurse, they're going to check your blood and all that to figure out, what is the problem. So you first got to identify the problem. And then you got to have a plan. Okay, I want to save X amount. But then once you do save X amount, what do you do? So if you have debt, there's this technique called snowball. That's what I like to use. So me personally, I like to use snowball. What that means is you identify your lease, the bill that you can pay off the fastest. And you start there. Once you pay that off, say for instance, it was costing you $100 per month. Now you've paid off that full debt. Now you got whatever you were paying before plus that $100, and then you go to the next debt that is closest being paid off. And you keep going from the lowest to the highest, and that's how you try to get out of that type of situation. But it all starts with knowing what the issue is.
Yep, knowing the issue is being honest with yourself, answering the phone when them creditors call.
Or don't get the creditors in the first place. But anyway,
Don't get the creditors in the first place.
right.
Key thing, communication with the people that past due, especially when you're borrowing money from people. Make sure you pay back the people that loaned you money because you never know what their situation was. You pay them back, okay? Making sure that you understand how your bridge, like you say, budgeting, taking your budget and being understanding which bills are fixed and understand which bills are going to fluctuate up and down. Okay, So when you understand these concepts and you're disciplined and doing this over time, it doesn't have to. You don't have to change all the stuff that you got going on immediately. Because I think a lot of people don't understand is they're trying to change their situation within 48 hours. That's not. It's not. It's not gonna happen. If you got $70,000 of debt, you ain't gonna change that in 48 hours unless you come across some lottery earnings, which I do not recommend you doing. Do not do that because you just gambling. Because you ain't gonna say if you do get the $1 million, you probably don't have a financial education to budget and manage that money over a series of time. Just don't do it. Identify which bills are the smallest, like he said, which bills, and start working your way up one at a time. Okay, this one is 100. Let's take care of that 100. This one is 200. We're gonna work on it too. Just work your way up. What's gonna happen is you're gonna start seeing your credit score going up. You're gonna start seeing things feel like a burden because a lot of times people don't understand what Miles Monroe said this in one of his sermons one time. It's like when a person owes somebody money, right? They kind of feel oppressed. They feel depressed because they owe somebody money. Okay, so you want to make sure you pay your debts for your integrity and for your reputation among the people, especially when somebody doing it out of the kindness of their heart. There's something in The Richest Man in Babylon. It's in Old English. Okay, it talks about pieces of silver, pieces of gold, pieces of bronze. So it talks about the basics of tithe and offering, how to spend your money, how to budget your money. One of the things that stuck out to me the most was an honest man always pays back his debts. So you don't want to have your debts lingering around. Pay your bills, pay your debts back so you'll feel more relieved and feel more excited about yourself, and you'll be able to move forward in life. It won't have that in the back of your head, man. I owe this person money, or I owe this debtor any money. So you want to make sure you want to go ahead and take care of those things and understanding this is going to put me in a better position. This is going to put me in a better position to where I have more cash flow and I'll be more abundant. And it also preserves your reputation amongst creditors and your loved ones as well when you pay back when you save it. Pay back when you say it, what you're gonna do, and it's about being about your word and integrity, keeping your integrity intact at all times, and just being communicating, just being open and honest and vulnerable. A lot of people don't understand how to be vulnerable when they're in a situation. They just shut down, don't answer the phone. It look like you just ducking and dodging instead of just facing the problem and taking accountability and just being disciplined about what you're doing. So,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So yeah, man. So let me go ahead and go to the next question. What are some hacks in investing?
Yeah, so some different hacks. So I'm gonna get into some hacks, but I do want to say a few things first on that. So right away, you want to pay God and yourself first. So what I mean by that is a lot of times people get their money, they pay all their bills, and they hope that they got enough to put for savings. What's suggested is actually to start with yourself and God first. So pay your
Gotcha.
tithes, pay yourself first, and then pay your bills, so that you're deliberately putting that money aside for what your goals are. Another thing that you could do when it comes to making sure you're putting money away is some banks have something called keep the change. So keep the change. So what that means, if I buy something that's like $5.50, it rounds it up to 6, and that 50 cents goes to my savings. And then you can also do stuff like auto drafting. Where you automatically take 25, $100, put it into savings. So that's where you don't see it; it just automatically happens. And then you can do other things. You can get creative, such as knowing that there's certain programs nearby that you can utilize that will allow you to, where you maybe were spending money on food. Like, to give an example, we do a food drive at church, UKCF church. So if you, and that's, the end of the month, and that could be a way where you save money on food. And that time where you were to go to spend money on food, you could take that and put that towards something else, so that you have that. And then you can also utilize resources such as YouTube, where you can actually gain the knowledge to do your own research to figure out what are opportunities you could do to better yourself. So that's the biggest thing. You actually just got to be intentional. You have to get sick enough. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's what they say, right? Sick and tired of being sick and tired. So once you have the drive to want to better your situation, it first starts with the mental.
So Keisha has a question. She said, if I come into a large lump sum of money, would you suggest paying off debt or investing? I'm gonna let you answer that one first, and then I'll answer.
Yeah. So I would suggest paying off the debt. There's a few reasons why. Because once you get your credit up, the credit will allow you. So if you have too much debt, that can impact your credit. So what happens is when you have better credit, you're actually going to have even more and more money because you'll get better rates on your insurance. You'll get better rates on rent. You might not have to pay a down payment when you move in a house. So that's going to give you even more money that you can put towards investing as well, or buying a house or putting money aside. And then it also frees up those expenses. So now you have more coming in that so start with the debt and then kind of go from there. And you got to look at it like this. Say, for instance, you have a credit card and you got behind on a payment. Now your credit card interest rate is 22%, 22% interest. That is building up over time. It's getting worse and worse and worse. So you can look at it like this. When you pay off your credit card and it had 22% interest, that's almost like a 22% return because now it's not an expense, because if you didn't pay it off, you would have been paying 22%. But now that you paid off that credit card, is almost like you gain 22% back, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. So I'm going to answer that, Keisha. So the best way to do that is pay your debt, understanding the differences between good debt and bad debt. So your bad debt would be your student loans, your car loans. Depending on how you wield your credit card, it can be good debt or bad debt depending on the wielder. Okay, so you want to pay all those debts off, creditors, collections, pay all that off first. Fix your credit, do what you do what that need to do. So what happens? I'm gonna teach you a credit hack. So you have a credit card. Let's say if you get a credit card for $600 limit. Don't go over 30% of the utilization. Okay? So that keep that down. So pay that off, get some gas, buy a few groceries, pay it back down. Pay it twice that month. So what it's doing is telling the credit system that, okay, you keeping it received the payment, you paying it online, you paying it on time, and you paying it ahead. So what happens in 6 months, it doubles to $1,200. Same thing in another 6 months, you do it again, it may double or triple depending on the credit card company. So what happens is when you do that over time, you can take that credit card, it ain't just used for emergencies. You can take that credit card and invest in something that's major. So for example, you see a business opportunity or you need to go back to take a class or a business seminar, you can just pull out your credit card and pay for it right there because you don't have no debt. The credit card is at zero, and you can just pay it back off whenever the credit card is due. Okay, so that's a credit hack right there. You can do it like that. So that would be the best way. I fully agree with LaVar. Just take care of all your responsibilities first. Take care of all your expenses, and then take a percentage of it and pay yourself. Take a percentage of it, tithe. I don't know if you believe in God. Tithe, give it to some type of charity organization. Do it like that. So a lot of people don't understand as far as tithing and giving. There could be some evil people in this world. You be understanding how they be winning. I'm gonna tell you why they be winning, because they follow laws, the laws of money. Understanding if you follow the laws of money, no matter how good your heart is, if you follow those laws, you're gonna reap the benefits of those laws. Okay, so when God said, I won't. My word is bond. Like I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, whether it's evil or good. I gotta release the money because they follow these laws and steps according to the Bible.
Like you
Stepping on people. I got a righteous heart. I'm tithing. I'm giving. But it's just you not following those money principles. That's why. That's the difference. And once you understand that and follow those laws, you'll be able to see the different abundance that they're seeing. Because there's just as many good people that are abundant as bad people. The difference is they follow those laws and structures. So you want to make sure you take care of your priorities first. Don't overspend. Don't spend what you don't got. Don't go out here running your credit cards up on concerts, stuff that you got to do. You want to use your credit cards for emergency expenses, paying bills on auto pay, and you also want to take those credit cards and invest. Because you
Right.
could take those credit cards and invest in big business, and you're like, hey, you at a seminar and say, man, it costs $10,000. All you gotta do, reach in your back pocket confidently, and you
Yeah.
give them your card. That's all you got to do. It's one motion, one, two, boom, just like that.
And on top of that, man, you some of these cards, depending on the type of card you get, you might get cashback rewards, and that's another way where you can actually have some money to pay down your debts, because if you use your credit card, you get those cashback rewards. Sometimes you can pay that towards your card as well. And but yeah, it's definitely great, that you mentioned God. You don't want that cankerworm, where it's messing up, just all of a sudden you have an accident, you have this unexpected expenses. It might just because it might not be having that favor, you know what I'm saying? So, but the word says it's better to give than receive, and you reap what you sow. So sometimes you pour into people, think about other people, that comes back to you. But yeah.
Yep. And like I said, everybody's faith is different. It doesn't have to be in the church. It don't have to be in church, but it could be tied with your time, tied in with charity organizations. There's so many different nonprofits in the community. With a lot of those millionaires and billionaires, they do that. They tied all the time. They tied they give them to a cause. Find a cause or organization or church. Find something that you believe in and give money to it consistently. Take 10%, take 15% of that money, give to them consistently. Give to them consistently. Do it with a loving heart. Don't do it because you have to do it. Do it because you want to do it, because it's a routine. Like how you wake up, brush your teeth, wash your face, you go to your job, work 8 hours. Put that in your routines. Put that in your routines. Every time I get paid, I'm gonna send it to this organization. I'm gonna send it to the tithes and offerings plate. I'm gonna put it in there on Sunday or Wednesday, whenever they collect tithes and offerings. I'm gonna put it on in consistency, because over time, what you're doing, you're also blessing that organization. You're helping people that you may not know, and also key thing, most people don't realize this. You also, depend on your faith, you storing your treasures in heaven too.
Amen.
Keisha said Matthew 5:45, for he maketh under the sun arise the evil for the good, sentence and rain on the just and the unjust. That's true. True. And believers just gotta make sure they apply the scriptures to their life. And a lot of people just read the scriptures and go to the church service, but they don't apply the scriptures and what they learn from the servants and the Bible study and apply it. You just take it. You can read the books, but you gotta apply it, apply the knowledge, apply the sermons, apply it to yourself. Like our pastor says, we put ourselves in the scriptures and apply it. Apply it. See it. Don't be a spectator of word. Put yourself in the scriptures. You want to make sure it applies to you before you start ministering to everybody else. So you want to be the example of leadership in finance, then go talk to the other people. Get yourself in order, then talk to the other people, and then tell people your testimony and how you overcame your debt and your liabilities, and this is how you got to the next level by what you've been doing. Being an example, being a representative of the kingdom, if you believe in that, being an example of leadership in your household and taking care of your business, and then handling community business, and then handling the church business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they call it being a good steward of your money as well.
Being a good steward.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Being a steward over the church, being a steward over your family, being a steward over the credit cards. Because what they do is they say, you're a good steward. We're gonna give you 4,000. Oh, you manage 4,000? We're gonna give you 10. Okay, we're gonna give you 10. We're gonna double you to 100,000. We got you.
Right.
Trust you. It's about building trust.
Right.
It's just about building trust. That's what you want to do with your creditors and stuff. Build trust with people. The same thing about relationships. You want to build trust with people, especially if you say you're going to borrow some money, pay it back when you say it. If you can't, let them know. You know, just got to do what you do. Just communication. Just be in communication with that. But that's good stuff. That's good
Definitely.
stuff. Yeah, man. So I think that's it for my. Oh, I got one more question. I know we talked about it just briefly, but with the rule of 72, what's your thoughts about the rule of 72?
Yeah. So rule of 72 is just pretty much it's like a formula that tells you, how long will it take you to double your money? But the real principle about it is pretty much, you know, tracking your returns. So I believe in. I don't necessarily use the rule of 22, but I do track my returns. Like there's like different tools you could do online, but it really comes down to like interest and getting money on, making your money work for itself. You know what I'm saying? So, so if you put your money into account and you get 10%, you put your money in account, you get 4%, put your money in stock. It's what is, how long will it take for you to get more and more money back and how much we get over time? So I definitely believe in that principle. I follow Warren Buffett, and he talks. I think Einstein might have said it first, though, where they talked about the eighth wonder of the world being compound interest. So it's about your money making money over time, and then you reinvest the money that you got and you keep putting it in. So it's definitely important to be able to put your money to work by allowing your money to kind of make money passively where you don't have to do anything from it. So, the most, I think I read this book and it said 90% of most wealthy people make their wealth in real estate. And the way they do that, one of the easiest models is just buying a house and then that income you got coming in every month. Now, remember, we talked about it earlier, it does depend on if it's a profit, because if not, then it's a liability. But, if you had a house and it was paid off and you just got income coming to you, now your money's making money. You bought a house and now that it's giving you a return on your investment. So, but yeah, but I definitely believe in putting your money to work with compound interest.
Yep. Yeah. So understanding how the compound interest works, um,
Mhm.
knowing how to compound your interest. It ain't gonna be in no banks. Stop. Do that.
Hey, real quick, that's why I got that's actually one of the main reasons why I got into crypto, with cryptocurrencies, because you have a lot of different. Now with crypto, not all of them are created equal, and you have to do research. You have to try to get people that might know what they're doing. But the biggest thing in crypto, they always say, do your own research, because it is highly risky. But if you know what you're doing, there's a lot of places where you actually get compound interest rate and pretty high interest rates as well.
Yep. You just gotta do the research. You gotta work. You gotta put in
Right.
the work and understand you doing this for the long term. You're not
Right.
doing this for the short term. Okay. So understanding how the compound interest work and how to make it work for you, not against you. Um,
Absolutely.
Compound interest can work against you with credit cards, because if you just paying the minimum amount, it's them interest fees is gonna come clash
Mm.
immediately. And let's say if you got student loans, so what I've learned about unsubsidized and subsidized loans. So what happens with those loans? There's differences. So subsidized means that there's only a certain amount of cap they can do it. Unsubsidized, the variable, it can go up and down depending on your credit score and when you took them out. Because if you add up each loan, it'll add up to like 100% interest depending on how long you was in college or whatever. It's like you paying them back double, and it's supposed to be 8%. But if you break, because they do it every semester, unsubsidized or subsidized, so that stuff is compounding against you when you in school. I think the unsubsidized it compounds against you when you in school and after you graduate too. So understanding that every time you defer it, the interest is just compounding it. So you want to make sure you have a strategy on how to pay your loans back, not just to wait for the government to come out with forgiveness programs and stuff. You want to sit here and consolidate your debt and figure out what works best for you to where you can have a write down a goal to where you can take your student loan, pay it off. When I'm gonna pay it off. We ain't paying this off in 360 months. They try to change the language in LaVar. They try to change the language. They say because you say 20 years, because people ain't gonna sign 20 years. I ain't gonna sign that.
Right.
360 months. They're like, oh, that ain't that much time.
I know, right? I'm trying to make it look.
That ain't that much time. Well, yeah, I got you.
Right.
Wait a minute. They get out of college. It's 360. That's 20 years. You just lied. But yeah, you want to make sure that you understand and reading before you sign, and understand your credit cards, understand your debt, your liabilities. Keep them low. Keep your liabilities and expenses low. Keep your profits high. Keep your assets high. Your return on investments high. And if you don't know everything, ask somebody who does. Pick up a couple of books. Go into business. Instead of going, when you go to Barnes and Noble, instead of going to the romance section, go to the personal finance and business section and learn. There's hundreds of books there. $10, $20, $30. That's a meal at Applebee's or something like that. Wherever you like to eat, take that Applebee's money and invest into a book that's gonna put you in another position. That's gonna open up your mind. So when you start reading on a daily basis and listening to audios, what it does is it programs your mind. Like, okay, you start thinking like, okay, this is possible. Your mind the gears start moving to where you start being able to make some money. I might be able to do this. You start problem solving for your own situation. And that's what we're on this live trying to get you to do, to problem solve for your debts, your budget, because look, most people are like, man, I can't do this. I can't do it. Yes, you can. If you put your mind to it and to put the effort in, you just got to work it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just got to want it.
Got to want it. But
got to be important enough to you.
Yep, gotta be important. We bringing the information. This is why I decided to do a double header, because we try to get this information to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't doing this for no money or anything. We just want to get connected community. And LaVar, tell people how to find you. They trying to manage their finances and they need some help in budgeting their expenses. How do they find you?
Gotcha. Well, just actually, you can reach me on my YouTube channel. I respond to the comments there. I go by Polka Dot Specialist. I'm a crypto influencer, so I help talk about Polka Dot ecosystem when it comes to cryptocurrencies and stuff. But that's one of the easiest ways to find me. You can just go to YouTube and type in Polka Dot Specialist. And I do my best to try to answer questions as much as possible. Overall. But keep in mind, again, when it comes to crypto, you got to do your own research. But I can show what I'm doing sometimes.
Oh yeah, man. So you just want to so I want to elaborate when he talking about. So when you want to invest, you want to make sure you got your information right. You want to read, talk about it, research, study it. Get up, study it. Okay, study the craft that you want to learn. Okay, you want to become a master of what you want to invest into. You want to just invest because you're trying to get out of debt. You want to invest because you're passionate about whatever that investment is. Because if you're passionate and driven and purpose driven with this, you'll be able to not only change your life and your financial situation, you'll be able to inspire people around you, because you'll just light up and people like, you know what? I need to figure out what he's doing. I need to take him to lunch or coffee and understand what they're doing. You want to do it with a purpose, okay? And you want to use your testimony to change the people around you. You want to have it to change the vision of others, because somebody might be discouraged just like you, but you'll be able to relate to them and pull them out of that, okay? You want to pull them out of poverty. Poverty is a mindset, okay? So you want to make sure you pull them out of that. So once you pull them out of that, but the thing is, you can't pull nobody out of it if you ain't got it. You can't help people if you ain't got no money. Let's be honest with you. You can help people to a certain degree, but you can't help nobody without no money, because it's just the solution. Because you want to be able to put yourself in a position to help people. You want to help yourself first. Take care of God's health first. Take care of the charity first. Take care of your house. Then you want to take care of the people. Show people how to make money. Because if you're not good, you're no use to nobody else. And most people don't understand that. So Yeah,
Absolutely, man. Well,
absolutely.
I appreciate you having me on, man. You know, it was
Yeah,
always great, you know.
listen, I appreciate you too. We had to come on live. We had to do an emergency live. We had to get these people online. We had to get these people. We had to get them right this week. You know,
Uh-huh.
it's the summer because they spending money, so we had to make
So,
sure they ain't spending too much money. We had to make sure it's documented. We told you.
yeah, it reminds me of that movie. It reminds me of that movie. I think it was Jerry Maguire. He was like, "Show me the money."
Show me
Show
the
me.
money.
Anyway, man. But now
Yeah,
it's always a blessing, man. You know,
bless
like
you.
you're doing, man, and you know, keep doing what you do.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on, taking the time out to come and speak to everybody and speak to your audience, speak to my audience. And, like I said, this is the purpose of this platform to put people back in purpose and vision, connect the dots, be a commonwealth. Everybody share their resources, their talents, and they consolidate them. He'll come to go to LaVar, come to me. We'll get you right. He'll get you right with your finances and he'll tell you how to get a house, he get you right. He a real estate agent. If you're trying to invest in some long-term opportunities, reach out to him. He'll get you right.
Yeah. My real estate. If you have questions about real estate, you can send me an email, and that's realtor LaVar at Gmail. So that's the way you can send me if you have some questions about real estate and position yourself for a house and real estate and things of that nature. Definitely hit me up.
All right, that sounds good. So this concludes Friday night with Pineapple. I'm not coming back on here tomorrow. So I'm just. I know y'all.
I don't know. You might wake up in the morning, God put something on your heart, like,
Man, I gotta go back out again. I ain't trying to do that, but I go live if I have to. Don't make.
all right.
But it is what it is. But like I said again, big bro, I appreciate you coming on,
You're
educate
welcome, man.
people about your background and finances. Reach
Yeah,
out to them if you need some financial help. If you're not sure how to get in contact with them, I'll refer you to them. You just reach out to me, and I'll reach out to them. We'll set something up, okay?
definitely,
But
man.
we over and out. We come back Thursday night, 7:30. Friday night with Pineapple. Thursday night with Pineapple, and we'll catch up. Over and out. Take care. Y'all have a blessed evening.
Thanks again.
Yes, sir. All day.